My name is Grace White, and what I'm about to share might forever change the way you see the world. One night, I died in my sleep, but death wasn't the end. It was the start of something beyond my wildest imagination. I experienced a near-death experience, an NDE, that completely shattered my understanding of reality. In that extraordinary moment, I discovered an incredible truth. Life as we know it is actually a dream, and we ourselves are the creators of this illusion. There, I met a divine guide who revealed the ultimate secret of existence and showed me exactly how to awaken from this dream we're all living in. Let me take you back to how it all began. My name is Grace White, and the day my life changed forever wasn't really a day. It was an ordinary night. I went to bed exhausted, feeling perfectly normal. There were no warnings, no signs, just sleep. But soon, that sleep would become something completely unexpected. I remember drifting into unconsciousness, but this time was different. It wasn't the gentle slide into dreams that I'd experienced countless times before. Instead, my body felt unusually heavy, as if I were sinking deep into my mattress. Then suddenly, everything stopped. No breathing, no heartbeat, nothing. My chest felt empty and hollow, and darkness enveloped me completely. But in an instant, I found myself floating above my own body, watching it lying motionless in bed. Strangely enough, there was no panic or fear, only a profound sense of calmness and detachment. I saw my chest remain still, my hands limp by my sides, my face pale and serene. I was undeniably dead, yet I felt more awake and aware than ever before. "What's happening?" I whispered, but no sound emerged. It was then that I sensed it. A gentle pull, unlike anything I'd ever felt. It wasn't physical. It was more as if my awareness was being drawn upward. I looked toward the ceiling, only to find it had disappeared entirely. Instead, there was a soft, golden, endless light, inviting me forward. Am I dying? I wondered. But the truth was clear. I was already dead, my spirit free from my lifeless body. Trusting that pull, I surrendered and allowed myself to drift toward the welcoming light. The very moment I crossed into that gentle glow, everything changed. A rush of warmth, peace, and pure tranquility washed over me. I wasn't Grace White anymore, not the Grace from Earth. I had transformed into something else, something pure, something timeless. Floating there, weightless and serene, time seemed both eternal and instantaneous. Then, through the calmness, I heard it, a soft, knowing voice whispering, "Welcome." Turning toward the voice, I saw a luminous figure standing before me, radiating a familiar warmth that felt comforting, yet strangely unplaceable. I didn't know who it was, but somehow I understood that this encounter marked just the beginning of an incredible journey. As I continued to float within this endless expanse of golden light, I realized my body was no longer present, but I was more aware than ever before. I felt connected to everything around me, the comforting warmth, the subtle hum of energy vibrating gently through the space. Again, that calming voice reached me, gently calling my name, Grace. I turned toward the sound and saw the figure more clearly. It was made of light, no defined shape, no face, no hands, yet its presence was undeniable. A deep familiarity radiated from it, wrapping around me like an embrace. "You've crossed over," the voice said gently. "Am I dead?" I asked. "Yes," the figure replied, "but death is not the end. It is only the beginning." Strangely, I felt no fear, only curiosity. "What happens now?" I asked. The figure moved closer, though it didn't physically step forward. "You are waking up," it said. "What do you mean?" I asked, confusion stirring within me. "The life you knew, it was a dream, a projection of your thoughts and expectations. You created that world," the figure said. I frowned. "What are you saying?" "The world you left behind wasn't real, not in the way you believed it was," the figure explained. "You lived inside a dream, shaped by your mind, your beliefs, and your fears." It didn't make sense, and yet deep down, I felt an undeniable truth in those words. My life, my home, my friends, my struggles, was it all just an illusion? The figure's light pulsed gently. "Reality is not what you think it is. You are consciousness, a creator. What you believed shaped the life you lived." I shook my head. "But it felt real," I insisted. "It was as real as you believed it to be," the figure replied. I looked down and saw Earth beneath me, a small, delicate sphere floating in the vastness of space, surrounded by stars and infinite darkness. I could see everything, cities glowing, oceans stretching endlessly, mountains standing tall. But more than that, I could feel it, the emotions of the people below. Fear, love, anger, peace. Every feeling, every heartbeat, pulsing through the world like an unseen current. You were part of that dream, the figure said, its voice steady. But now, you've woken up. I realized in that moment that I was no longer tethered to it. My worries, my fears, the weight of my old life, they didn't hold me anymore. I had stepped beyond the illusion. I wasn't just Grace White, the woman with a job, with responsibilities and struggles. I was Grace White, the awareness behind it all. You have a choice, the figure said. You can return to the dream, or you can stay awake. I drifted within the light, feeling every sensation more vividly than I ever had in life. My body was gone, yet my awareness had never been sharper. Energy pulsed through me, vibrant and alive, as if I had become part of something infinite. Then I saw it, an endless expanse of golden light stretching before me, like waves shimmering under an eternal sun. Within it, shapes moved, figures walking, standing, communicating, without words. Were they coming? Toward me? Or was I moving toward them? It was impossible to tell. One figure stepped forward, its light softer, almost humming. As it approached, an overwhelming wave of recognition surged through me. "Do I know you?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. "You have always known me," it said gently. Its voice was gentle yet powerful, resonating deep within me. "We have met many times before." "I don't remember," I admitted. "You will," the figure assured me. It reached out, not with hands, but with its very essence. As its light touched me, a flood of memories rushed through me all at once. I saw lifetimes stretching far beyond the one I had just left, faces I had loved, souls I had lost, moments I had lived before but had forgotten. "I've been here before," I whispered in awe. "Yes," the figure said, "and you will be here again." The other beings in the field of light watched me with quiet curiosity. There was no judgment in their gaze, only understanding, and acceptance deeper than anything I had ever known. They knew me, they saw me, not as the person I had been on Earth, but as something far greater. "What is this place?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. "The space between worlds," the figure answered. "It is where souls come to remember who they truly are." I stood there, surrounded by light, and for the first time I didn't feel lost. I wasn't searching anymore. I had found home. The figure stepped closer, its glow intensifying, wrapping around me like warmth from the sun. I felt no fear, no doubt, only peace. "Who are you?" I asked. "I am your guide," it said simply. "I have been with you since the beginning." "You've always been with me?" I asked, my voice filled with wonder. "Yes," the figure replied. "You just couldn't see me." "I don't understand," I admitted. The figure's light pulsed gently. "Do you remember the emptiness you used to feel? That constant sense that something was missing?" I nodded. "Yes," I whispered. "I was the missing piece." It said. A wave of emotion surged through me. I had spent my entire life searching for meaning, for love, for a sense of belonging. And yet, all along, I had never truly been alone. Tears welled up in my eyes, though I had no physical body to cry with. "I thought I was broken," I said, my voice trembling. "You were never broken," the figure replied. "You were waking up." I stepped closer, drawn to the warmth of its light. As it wrapped around me, a feeling unlike anything I had ever known filled me, a completeness, a wholeness beyond words. "For the first time in my existence," I whispered, "I feel whole." The figure's light shimmered gently. "You are love," it said, "and you are home." I stood there, surrounded by light and peace, as the weight of my old life faded away. The burdens, the fears, the doubts, they had never truly defined me. I had only believed they did. The figure stood beside me, radiating a soft glow that pulsed with calm energy. I felt weightless, but not empty, full, as if I were part of the light itself. "You said my life was a dream," I said, "but it felt real. The pain, the happiness, it all felt real." The figure's light shimmered. "It was real, to the part of you that believed it was." I frowned. "What does that mean?" The figure moved closer. "Reality is not what you think it is, Grace. It's not fixed. It's not objective. It's a projection of your consciousness, shaped by your thoughts, your beliefs, and your fears." I hesitated, struggling to grasp the weight of those words. "Are you saying I created my life?" "Exactly," the figure said, its light pulsing gently. "Just like in a dream," the figure continued, "where your mind creates the landscape, the people, the experiences. Your life was a creation of your thoughts and emotions. Your beliefs shaped it. Your fears gave it weight. Your joy made it brighter. You were the creator of the dream." I shook my head. "But if I created it, why was it so hard? Why was there so much pain?" The figure's light softened, Because you forgot you were the creator. You believed life was happening to you, rather than realizing you were shaping it all along. My chest tightened as I processed those words. You mean all the struggles I went through? The heartbreak? The loss? The fear? I did that to myself? The figure's voice was gentle. No, you didn't cause those things, Grace, but you gave them meaning. Pain happens in the dream, but how you experience it, how you carry it, that comes from your mind. Your attachment to pain makes it heavier. Your resistance makes it harder to let go. I thought back to all the times I had held on to anger, to the grudges I refused to release, to the heartbreak I nursed long after it was over. And in that moment, I saw it clearly. I had been trapping myself in those feelings not because they were forced upon me, but because I had chosen to hold on to them. You mean I could have let it go at any time? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. Yes, the figure said simply. I felt my mind expanding, as if a veil was being lifted. All the moments of suffering, all the times I had convinced myself that I was powerless. It had never been about what happened to me. It had always been about how I chose to perceive it. And now? I asked. Now you understand the truth, the figure said. You are not the dream, you are the dreamer. I let those words sink in, feeling their weight. If I was the dreamer, then I had the power to shape the dream. I had always had that power. I just hadn't known it. Come with me, the figure said. A ripple passed through the light, and suddenly, I wasn't standing anymore. I was floating. In front of me, a massive screen of light appeared, shifting and shimmering like a living tapestry. Then, images began to form, scenes from my life playing out before me. The first memory was of me as a child, 6 years old, sitting under a tree in my grandmother's backyard. I was crying, my small hands clenched into fists. I had broken a glass, and my mother had yelled at me. My grandmother sat beside me, gently stroking my hair. But something was different. I wasn't just watching this moment. I was feeling it. I felt my own sadness. But then, just as suddenly, I felt my mother's frustration. I saw the weight of her exhaustion, the way she was trying to balance work, responsibilities, and motherhood. I felt her guilt, her helplessness, her struggle to hold everything together. Then, I shifted again, into my grandmother's perspective. I felt her quiet understanding, her deep well of patience. She hadn't scolded my mother because she had seen the bigger picture. And just like that, I was back in my own 6-year-old body. But this time I understood. It was never just about you, the figure said, but you made it about you. That's how the dream works. Another scene appeared. I was a teenager, standing in the middle of my parents' living room, shouting at my father. His voice boomed back at me, fully, of anger, frustration, disappointment. In that moment, I had believed he hated me. But then, I became him. I felt his helplessness, his fear that he was losing control of his family. His anger wasn't truly directed at me. It was at himself, at his own failures, at his own unspoken regrets. In a flash, I was back in my own perspective. But now, I saw the truth. I thought he hated me, I whispered. He didn't hate you, the figure said. He didn't know how to love you in the way you needed. Scene after scene unfolded. Moments of joy, moments of heartbreak. But now I wasn't just watching them. I was experiencing them from every angle, feeling every emotion, understanding every unspoken truth. I saw all the love I had missed, all the kindness I had overlooked, simply because I had been too caught up in fear and judgment. You were never a victim of your life, the figure said. You were a participant. You chose how to respond. You created the story. I watched as another scene played out, me sitting alone, devastated after a failed relationship. I had convinced myself that I was unlovable, that I would always be alone. But as I relived that moment, I saw the truth. The relationship hadn't failed because I was unlovable. It had failed because I believed I was unlovable. I had pushed love away before it had the chance to grow. Tears filled my eyes. I did this to myself, I whispered. You shaped the dream, the figure said, and now you can reshape it. When you wake up, Grace, the figure continued, you will remember what you have seen here. I turned toward it, my mind racing. But how do I change it? How do I stop making the same mistakes? You must understand the power of thought, the figure said. Your thoughts create the structure of your reality. What you focus on, you empower. I don't understand, I admitted. The figure extended its light. Let me show you. Suddenly, I was back in my childhood bedroom, standing in front of a mirror. I was 10 years old, staring at my reflection. I heard the voice in my head, the same voice that had followed me throughout my life. You're not pretty enough. You're not good enough. And because I had believed it, the figure said, I had built a reality that reflected that belief. The mirror shimmered and my reflection changed. I saw myself as an adult, doubting myself in relationships, in work, in life. I had created patterns of failure because deep down, I had believed I wasn't worthy of success. What happens if I change the thought? I asked. Try it, the figure encouraged. I focused on the mirror, on the reflection staring back at me. I am enough, I whispered. The image shifted. I saw myself standing taller, more confident, smiling. The doubt in my eyes faded, replaced by something stronger, certainty. Then, the memories changed. I saw myself handling challenges with grace, building meaningful relationships, succeeding where I had once failed. You are consciousness, the figure said. Your thoughts are the brush. Reality is the canvas. I turned to face it. So, I can create whatever life I want? Yes, the figure said. Once you wake up, you can create the dream you truly want to live. The figure's light flickered, and suddenly, the world around me began to shift. What's happening? I asked. The dream is collapsing, the figure said. I looked down and saw Earth beneath me. The cities flickered. The landscapes changed, but it wasn't destruction. It was transformation. The edges of the world blurred, reshaping themselves into something new. Humanity is waking up, the figure said. The collective dream is changing. Old structures are falling apart. Fear is losing its grip. I watched as people across the planet stood at a crossroads, some stepping into the light, others clinging desperately to the familiar. Those who resisted were pulled deeper into chaos. Those who embraced the shift rose into peace and understanding. You are part of this, the figure said. You chose to come back at this time to help others awaken. But how? I asked. By being awake, the figure said. By showing others that they can create the dream instead of being controlled by it. The world beneath me flickered, and I felt myself being pulled back. Wait, I said. I don't want to leave. You're ready, Grace, the figure said. Now wake up. The light around me pulsed, and the figure's presence grew stronger, surrounding me with warmth. I felt a shift, not just within me, but across existence itself. I looked down at Earth, and it no longer appeared as it once had. The colors were different, sharper, more vibrant. Waves of energy rippled through the atmosphere, as if the entire world was stirring from a long sleep. The world is waking up, the figure said. I stared at Earth, realizing it wasn't the same place I had left. It was shifting, evolving, just as I was. I could feel the heartbeat of humanity, millions of souls stirring all at once. What's happening? I asked. The illusion is breaking, the figure replied. For centuries, humanity has been trapped in a cycle of fear, conflict, and separation, the figure continued. But that cycle is coming to an end. I could feel it. The push and pull of energy, the tension between fear and love, darkness and light. It was all swirling together, colliding, creating something new. But why now? I asked. Because the veil is thinning, the figure said. The consciousness of the planet has reached a critical point. More souls are awakening to their true nature. The old structures, those built on fear and control, are beginning to collapse. I looked down and saw it happening. Systems that had ruled humanity for centuries, governments, corporations, financial institutions, were flickering like fragile illusions. People were questioning them, stepping away, no longer willing to be controlled by fear. But not everyone, I murmured. I could see those who resisted, clinging to the crumbling structures. Their fear was palpable. Not everyone will awaken, the figure said softly. Some souls will resist the shift. They will hold on to the old reality because it feels familiar. Fear is a powerful force, and letting go requires courage. I saw faces flashing beneath me, people filled with fear, anger, and confusion. They didn't understand what was happening. Their world was shifting, but they were still trying to hold on to something solid. But they don't have to be afraid, I said. No, the figure agreed. And that's why you're here. Me? I asked, surprised. You are meant to help them see the truth, the figure said. When you return to the dream, you will carry this awareness with you. Your presence alone will help others awaken. But how? I asked desperately. How can I show them? By being awake yourself, the figure said. By refusing to be controlled by fear. When you walk in peace, others will feel it. When you create from love, others will learn to do the same. I watched as more people began to rise, some opening their eyes, seeing through the illusion for the first time. Their faces softened, their hearts opened. They're waking up, I whispered. They are remembering who they are, the figure said. And so are you. I watched the faces below, some lifting into light, others sinking deeper into fear. I could feel the resistance, the heaviness of their energy. They're still afraid, I said, because fear gives them identity, the figure explained. In the, dream of the world, people have learned to define themselves through fear. Fear of rejection, fear of loss, fear of death. Fear makes them feel real. But it's not real, I insisted. No, the figure said, but it feels real to them. I saw flashes of their lives, a woman crying over a breakup, a man terrified of losing his job, a child afraid of the dark. I felt their pain, the way fear wrapped around them, holding them in place. Fear feeds the dream, the figure continued. It strengthens the illusion. When you believe in fear, you give it power. You create more reasons to be afraid. I looked down at the earth and saw how fear rippled through the cities. Wars, conflict, manipulation, division. I saw how people were being conditioned to stay asleep, how the systems thrived on their fear. How do they let go? I asked. By remembering that they are not the dream, the figure said. They are the dreamer. I saw a person sitting in meditation, eyes closed, breathing deeply. The fear around them began to fade. Their energy shifted. From constricted to open, the light surrounding them grew. The key is awareness, the figure said. When you become aware of fear, you stop being controlled by it. Fear only has power when you believe in it. I watched as more people began to shift. They stopped listening to fear. They opened their hearts. The chains that had bound them for so long started to dissolve. They're waking up, I said. And so are you, the figure replied. I floated beside it, watching as souls across the earth began to awaken. Light was spreading, breaking through the darkness. But beneath it all, I could still feel the weight of fear lingering. They're still afraid of dying, I whispered. Because they don't understand what death really is, the figure replied. I turned toward it. Then what is it? It is not an end, the figure said. It is a doorway. But it feels like an end, I argued. Only to the body, the figure replied. Your consciousness is eternal. You were never your body. You only believed you were. I looked down and saw myself lying in bed, lifeless. My chest didn't rise, my hands were still. And yet, I was here, watching, aware. You died, the figure said, but you didn't stop existing. So, dying is like waking up? I asked. Exactly. I saw other souls crossing over, leaving their bodies behind. Some were confused at first, but as they realized they were still alive, still aware, a sense of peace settled over them. They thought they were their bodies, the figure said. But the body is only a vehicle, a projection within the dream. When you step out of it, you wake up. Then why are people so afraid of dying? I asked. Because they think it's the end, the figure said. But death is only the beginning. It is a transition, like stepping through a doorway into another room. I watched as more souls moved toward the light, their energy growing brighter. There was no fear, only peace. So what happens after? Death? I asked. You return to the source, the figure said. You rest. You remember. And when you are ready, you create again. So we're never really gone? Never, the figure said. You are eternal. You are consciousness itself. You cannot end. I watched as more souls crossed over, stepping into the light. Their fear dissolved. Peace surrounded them. They're remembering, I said softly. Yes, the figure said. And so are you. I stood with the figure, watching as the light expanded across the earth. More people were waking up, stepping out of fear, but something else was rising to take its place. Something far more powerful. Love, I whispered. It moved through the atmosphere like waves of light, touching everything and everyone. Love is the key, the figure said. I watched as people began to feel it in the smallest moments. A mother holding her child, a stranger helping another, a woman smiling at her reflection in the mirror for the first time in years. The energy of love spread through them, softening their hearts, opening their minds. Why does love feel so powerful? I asked. Because it is the essence of who you are, the figure replied. Fear is the illusion. Love is the truth. I thought about my life, all the times I had chased love, feared losing it, or felt unworthy of it. I remembered the heartbreak, the loneliness, the longing. But love hurts, I said. The figure's light pulsed softly. That's not love, it said. That's attachment. Attachment comes from fear, the figure continued. The fear of losing, the fear of not being enough. True love is free of fear. It asks for nothing. It gives without needing to receive. I watched as a young woman sat alone in her room, crying over a breakup. I could feel her sadness, the belief that she wasn't enough, that she would never find love again. That's not love, the figure said. That's the mind's version of love, the illusion of separation. True love knows that nothing is ever lost. I saw the same woman years later, standing beneath a tree, holding the hand of a small child. She was smiling. Love had found her again, but only after she had stopped chasing it. Love comes when you stop seeking it, the figure said, because you are love. When you realize that, you stop needing love from others, and you become a source of love for the world. I felt something shift inside me, a warmth growing in my chest. Not from the figure, from within me. You are not separate from love, the figure said. You are love. And in that moment, I knew. Love wasn't something to seek. It was something to become. As I stood there watching the earth below, I could feel the shift happening. It wasn't gradual. It was sudden and powerful. A rising wave of energy was spreading through humanity, like a pulse moving through the heart of the planet. It's happening, the figure said. I saw cities glowing with energy. People were waking up, not just spiritually, but mentally and emotionally. Old patterns were breaking. People were letting go of fear, stepping into new ways of living. But it's not easy, I said. Some are still resisting. I saw them, clinging to their fear, their anger, their need for control, governments struggling to maintain power, financial systems teetering, people protesting in the streets, some with love, some with rage. They're scared, I said. They don't know how to exist without the old structures. The mind fears what it cannot control, the figure said, but the heart knows how to surrender. I saw people walking away from jobs that drained them, leaving behind toxic relationships, refusing to participate in systems that no longer aligned with their truth. They weren't running, they were reclaiming their power. The collective dream is shifting, the figure said. And when the dream changes, so does the world. I saw people creating new systems, new communities, ones based on cooperation instead of competition. Governments that honored the will of the people, not controlled them. People were learning how to live in harmony, not through fear, but through trust. So the dream isn't ending? I asked. No, the figure replied. It's transforming. Humanity is stepping into a new dream, one shaped by love, not fear. I saw families coming together, children laughing, people gathering under the stars, celebrating, dancing, connecting. The shift wasn't happening because of governments or leaders. It was happening because people were choosing it. They are choosing love over fear, I whispered. Peace over conflict, freedom over control, the figure added. I watched as fear began to dissolve, like fog burning away under the sun. People were remembering who they truly were. The world is waking up, the figure said. And when enough souls awaken, there will be no going back. What happens next? I asked, my voice filled with anticipation. That's up to you, the figure replied, its light flickering with a gentle pulse. The figure's presence grew even brighter, and I felt a pull inside me. You have to go back now, it said softly. I hesitated, but I don't want to leave. You were never meant to stay, the figure said. You were meant to remember and bring that memory back to the dream. I looked down at the earth below. It seemed so small, so fragile. How could I leave this and return to that? They need you, the figure said. Your presence, your awareness will help others awaken. But what if I forget? I asked. You won't forget, the figure reassured me. This awareness is a part of you now. You will carry it with you. But how will I help others? I asked, uncertainty creeping in. By living awake, the figure said. By showing them that fear is an illusion, that love is the truth. When you walk in awareness, others will see it. Your presence alone will open the door for others to awaken. I felt the pull growing stronger, as if the very essence of the world was calling me back. My body, though distant, seemed to be drawing me closer. But how will I know what to do? I asked, a bit anxious. You will know, the figure said. Just live in alignment with the truth you've seen here. When you walk with love and peace, others will feel it, and they will begin to awaken too. I felt a profound sense of clarity wash over me. I didn't need to have all the answers. I just needed to be present, to live with awareness. The rest would follow. You're ready, Grace, the figure said. Now go. Bring the light back. With you. The light around me pulsed one last time, and in that moment, I knew it was time to go. With a deep breath, I allowed myself to be pulled back toward the earth. I felt the sensation of returning to my body, like slipping into an old, familiar place. The shift was gentle but undeniable. I looked down at the world below, now more vibrant than I had ever seen it. The colors, the energy, everything seemed sharper, more alive. I could feel the collective heartbeat of humanity stirring. Beneath me, millions of souls waking up all at once. As I descended closer to Earth, I felt a sense of peace. Peace with myself, peace with the world, peace with the journey ahead. You are ready, the figure's voice echoed, a final blessing. Now go and remember who you are. I opened my eyes, and with that, I returned.